This afternoon, I get to speak with the man who is the director of what has become the fastest, excuse me, let's take that from the top. This afternoon, I have the pleasure of speaking with the man who is the director of the theater house that has become one of my favorite places to see a concert. Jeff Thielke, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you doing today?
Listen, I'm excited I get to talk to you today about the Cerritos Center for Performing Arts. We met just about a week ago during the Terry Clark concert, which was absolutely fantastic. You took me through a very quick tour of the video backing and how the room can be configured on these hydraulics, going from 1,200 people to 1,400 people. I mean, this is an amazing setup for a building that just celebrated its 30th anniversary that still looks brand new.
Absolutely. And thank you for pointing that out. A lot of people don't even know that the building is multi-configurable. We're so lucky to have had the place for 30 years, a little over 30 years. And it is a multi-configurable space. We're able to accommodate as little as 900 patrons in our smallest configuration, all the way up to close to 2,000 in our largest. The two that we use the most frequently are Lyric Theater, which is what you saw most recently. That is a 1,450 seat house, very traditional proscenium style theater, sort of like a Broadway house. And then the other configuration we use most often is Large Arena, which is 1,850 seats. Long flat floor, wide room, almost a three-quarter wraparound around a raised stage at one end. Very suited, well suited for concerts, rock shows, and things like that. Effectively, the building it's 1,000,000 pounds of moving structure and seating. There are elevators in the floors. The box seats come in and out of the room and reshape the room. The ceiling panels are adjustable overhead. And so we can really reshape and tune the room to be sort of specialized for whatever show it is that we're trying to present that particular night. And so it's a great space. Acoustics are fantastic. And that's just the interior of the theater itself. The entire facility is a marvelous facility. Lots of different spaces to hold special events. We do a lot of weddings here. We have this beautiful grand lobby, and everything here is about basically presenting our patrons and our artists with a first-class experience. And I think, that's sort of the feeling when you come in through the door is you've really entered into a very special building.
I did not know that it was that the building moved. I was like, wow, how do they rearrange this and bring in this
Yeah.
stadium style seating when I was so used to the flat floor, having seen Starship and Foghat there, Leanne Rhymes, and
Yep.
Vogue and Expose, and then to see the different configuration when Terry was performing, I was like, all right, this is unique. I didn't expect this.
Yeah. Yeah, and that actually is very surprising to a lot of folks who come see shows here. Frequently, they will come and see a show, uh, perhaps in September. Usually in September, we're in Large Arena. So, for example, when you were here and saw En Vogue and Expose, that was our Large Arena configuration. Then they might come and visit a month or two later to see a Broadway show, and they walk into the theater and they say, "Wait a second, this looks very similar, but is this a different room?" We get that question all the time from our patrons, especially our newer patrons who are not used to walking into the room and having it basically a different space. They think they're in a different building. And so it is really truly a remarkable piece of engineering and design.
Yeah, if you didn't take me to the side and go, by the way, we can reconfigure this building, I don't know, like, am I sure I'm in the right place?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And fortunately, we have a really cool video on our YouTube channel. Just a 60-second video that people can look, and it shows some of the bigger pieces moving, and it really is phenomenal. And we did, in fact, when the building first opened, we did win an award for technical production and architecture from USITT. So that's a great award that was received for the facility as well. And that's proudly on display in the lobby next to the box office, a little crystal trophy we have there on the wall.
Wow. And I would be remiss to not mention this, that you are hosting the world premiere of Gilgamesh the Musical, created by the Assyrian Arts Institute, where the composer is Grammy Award nominee Derek Sky, and the libretto is Diana Farrell. And that's going to be in a year's time from now, but we did find out that Cerritos is the world premiere for this. And this is an 8,000-year-old epic tale that's being converted into an opera.
Yes, and actually, we've just recently started talking about that and putting dates aside, and we're finalizing those details right now. So I'm looking forward to working with the producers on that show and bringing that to the Southern California for everybody to enjoy. We're really looking forward to that one as well.
Well, I mean, I'm excited about that. I'm an ethnic Assyrian, so that's a big deal for me. But the Cerritos Center has kind of been the best kept secret in South LA, North Orange County. I mean, we've known that you guys have been around for 30 years. You've put on some incredible shows, but for some reason, as soon as you hit the 30th, things just started picking up, thanks to you being the director of it. And we'll get into that in a minute, and how long you've been with them and how the city has gotten behind you. But coming up shortly is the Hip Hop Nutcracker, Friday, November 8th. There's your pick, Come From Away, which has 2 nights and 3 showings, November 9th and 10th. Another one is Joan Saw Taylor, an acoustic evening with Rick Springfield and Richard Marx. And Kanto, a live sing-along film. ABBA's going to be, or ABBA Tribute is going to be there. The Beach Boys are coming. I'm a big one for that one. Spiro Gyra and the Jazz Funk Soul. Like, you got a lot coming up just before we even get to December.
We do, and yeah, basically, you hit some of you hit on all the great shows there that we have coming up. Some of my favorites are coming up indeed. We've been very fortunate to be able this season to curate a season filled with great artists, great talent, and there's really something for everyone on our schedule for this year. And we're actually adding more as we go. We just announced a few more shows as well. So it's a great spot to see a show. It's very accessible. All of those shows, we've tried to, with all of our shows, and in particular the ones that you mentioned, we try to put in some price points to make it accessible for really every type of theater goer or entertainment seeker. So we're all about trying to provide a really incredible experience here, and right down from entering the facility to the shows themselves. And I think just from the samples of shows that you mentioned, it really highlights what we were able to do this season, which is provide a nice variety of shows depending on what your taste might be. Many of our shows are music shows, our concerts, but we also offer Broadway musical tours and some dance, as you just mentioned, Hip Hop Nutcracker. But there really is something for everybody, including family shows. And of course, the ones that we don't advertise to the general public, we also have an arts education program where we bring in local schools and kids to see some really great shows that we're working on in the background as well. So lots of opportunity to see some great talent in Cerritos.
For a while, I mean, you guys have been doing some great shows. You told me Frank Sinatra is the one that was the inaugural show that launched the place, which is
Yes.
fantastic in and of itself as a historical piece. His signed tile is up on the 3rd floor with so many different signatures that you have to rotate in and out because, I mean, that's how much talent has been here. But why has it only been recently that it feels like the city of Cerritos has started to finally put, everything in motion and just get everything chugging along for the recognition of the theater? Because the theater's been known, but now it's on everybody's radar.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a few years ago, obviously, the world was hit with the pandemic, COVID-19, and obviously we were closed for a few years, as were all of the venues across the country. And there was a moment, I think, during that time where we sort of had a little bit of self-reflection and said, hey, what can we do coming out of this to try to really spin up quickly? And at the time, nobody really knew what this was going to look like, right? We were closed. We didn't know how long it was going to last. The industry itself was in pretty significant turmoil. Artists not knowing if they could go out and tour and when they could go out and tour and what the restrictions might be. So coming out of the pandemic, we had, I think it was a half season, which was just before I became the director. We had a half season that was sort of the effort to really restart the building, if you will, that had been sitting for a while, and get everybody back up to speed. And also coming out of that, recognizing that this venue is really a mark of the economic activity and power that Cerritos has in the region. We're very fortunate to have this facility here and to have this attraction within Cerritos really helps keep us on the map, if you will. And we are a bit of a gateway to a really great community. And so just understanding and recognizing that the leverage of the facility itself and the power of arts and entertainment and bringing that back into the city as strong as we possibly can to continue to build sort of that economic activity and that cultural impact was the driving force behind it. And also recognizing that we needed to expand our audience and really start to try to bring in a new diverse lineup of shows, and also having access to shows that we might not have had access to before the pandemic started. So there's a lot of different reasons kind of rolled up into one there, but the effort really is all about trying to be an economic and cultural driver within the community of Cerritos. We have a great location. Everything here is very first class coming in, as I mentioned, into the building, including, as I know, one of your favorite parts, free parking. So
that's everybody's favorite part. Don't just put it on me. I mean, I know I'm cheap, but it's everybody's favorite part.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we have the ability, we have the facilities, and we have the know-how to really do this. And we have a great team of people here, very supportive team, very supportive city council that makes sure that we have the resources we need to operate, which is very, very helpful and important. And of course, our city manager is also very, very supportive of what we're doing here. And that's all sort of driving everything. And so with those efforts, we've been working very hard to come up with a season of shows, and also shows in the future that are really going to speak to a large amount of people and different people from all walks of life, wherever they may come from. And I think, you know, it's a little bit obvious, but here on the border of LA and Orange County, there's approximately 8 million people within 30 miles of this building. And we'd like, you know, as many of them as possible to come visit Cerritos and visit this theater and see a show and really enjoy what we can do here and enjoy an evening or an afternoon, either with loved ones and a family, or even if they want to fly solo and see a great show. Hey, we have something for everybody. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
Right. And we should remind everybody that this is not a private facility that was just named after the city. This is a building and a theater that is owned by the city for the public. So this is something that is put together through the community, and the city is the one that's funding this. This isn't some private entity that just decided to name it after the city. It's not like the Cerritos Auto Square, where it's just a bunch of car dealerships that are like, we're in Cerritos, so this is what we're calling it.
That's 100% correct. This is a city-owned and operated venue. All of us who work here are city employees or volunteers. We have a great volunteer staff of about 150 volunteers that help us operate the building. And all of us are working on behalf of the city of Cerritos and the residents and the businesses here, which is a tremendous honor for those of us who are here. Effectively, we are public employees. We are in the business of public service. but we are also very honored to be the custodians of such a marvelous venue, in the name of the city of Cerritos and everything that they're trying to do here. It's a marvelous community. It's a great building, and we're very much happy to be a part of it.
Well, everybody that I've come encounter with, from your PR staff to the ticket booth, Dante, I will always sing his praises. I'm telling you, this guy is management material. Like, this guy's fantastic. The volunteers, everybody that's there has absolutely been kind, from the bartender to anyone walking around, the security that walks the parking lot to make sure nothing's going awry. You have quality people working there, whether a volunteer or a city employee, that want to make it feel a safe and comfortable environment.
100%. Absolutely. And everybody's on that mission. We're all in tune with those driving factors and that mission of really making a first-class experience and a safe experience for people coming through. And again, very fortunate to be where we are, to have the city's support, and have great staff. You mentioned Dante. I've made a note, management material.
So, it really is.
But no, everybody, you're absolutely right. Everybody here does a really terrific job. They're very customer service focused here in Cerritos, and I think that's really sort of one of the, not only one of our strengths, but it's a charm, right? It's part of what makes us a charming place to come visit and see a show. And I also spend time in the lobby. I talk to a lot of people and try to listen to feedback and see what people are interested in and what's bringing them to see shows in the theater. And we listen to everything, and we try to apply what we learn on a daily basis to really honor that commitment to customer service. So that's kind of what we're doing here, and the staff is definitely on board with that, and we can't do it without any of those staff or those volunteers. They're all terrific.
Yeah. And that we just had mentioned what was in November. I mean, all the holiday stuff coming up in December. By the way, this name cracks me up. Perfect when you read it. Mariachi Christmas, MERRY-ACHI. On paper, it's beautiful. Take us back to when you came on board. You had just come on board just around the time that everything shut down, or just prior to?
So I've actually been a City of Cerritos employee for over 20 years. I started here in the theater part-time, and I promoted through a couple of different positions over the years. And although I was still with the city, I moved over to City Hall, and I was the budget manager for a few years for the entire city of Cerritos. I worked very closely with the city manager. And a little over 2 years ago, the city manager asked me to come back over here to be the director and really start putting into place that vision of developing new audiences and bringing new artists into Cerritos who might not have played here before, and really ramp up the programming. So that happened about a little over 2 years ago, and that's what we've been working on ever since. I've been in entertainment production and production management my entire life. I've also interestingly also been involved with public service all of my life. So here in Cerritos, it's really, not only is it a unique facility, that it's a movable facility, but it's also very unique, and for somebody with my background, has an extensive background in theater management and also public service. It's a great blend to come together. It's a great opportunity to be here. And so that's sort of the history for me. But I have been here for a little over 20 years in total. Excuse me.
Wow. And you guys are perfectly located. You're about 10 minutes away from Knott's Berry Farm. You're about 10 minutes away from the auto center, or Cerritos Auto Square. So go get your oil changed and then head on over to the theater afterwards.
Yes. Better yet, buy a car and then come see a show while your car is being prepped for you.
Yeah. We don't want to overextend anybody's
So,
budget at this point. Just we'll start with
okay,
the oil change.
start with the oil change. Okay.
Yeah. But like I said, the facility is great. You've been there 20 years on and off between, going to City Hall and then coming back.
Yeah.
When you come back and now you're the director, what's it like going into this position and then realizing coming out of the world being shut down to now, all right, let's step up our game. This isn't just, an X crowd that's only going to come for these types of shows. Let's bring in a bunch of other people and see what we can do with this to engulf the entire community from grandparents to grandchildren.
That's a great question. There were a lot of conversations about how to approach this. And I think right out of the gate, what we worked on sort of together as a team, the staff that's here, we met frequently in the very beginning when I came back over here, and I think to kind of sum it up in a word, it just took a lot of courage to go out and really try to shake things up and start bringing in some of these artists and really looking introspectively to see what we can do to make improvements, or if there weren't opportunities for improvements and things were going okay in certain areas, okay, let's leave that alone. But I think it was just having the courage to come in and take a hard look at what we were doing and making sure that we continue to do the things that were going well the right way, and then where we saw opportunities to make improvements, really executing on those opportunities. And I think that's what with that sort of formula and the courage to do that, we've been very successful thus far over the last 18 to 24 months. And it seems to be going very, very well. And the crowds are being very responsive. Patrons are very positive. And it's not to say that it wasn't a great experience before. I think the good news here is that for me personally, I think being here so long, I had a slightly different take on it, but also sort of kind of almost coming back in from the outside, from the City Hall side of things, was sort of a little bit of a fresh perspective on how things were going and how we can operate sort of in harmony with the rest of what the city's objectives are and the city's goals are. But just taking a look at what we were doing, trying to identify where there were opportunities for us to improve, and then executing on that, and having the courage to talk to everybody who works here. Everybody has a voice, right? We all work together. I take it very seriously when somebody comes to share an idea. They want to see a certain show or they think something's going to do well, or maybe there's something with marketing that we could do differently, or it doesn't matter what the staff member's position is in the operation or in the organization. We try to work together as a team, and I try to work with everybody that way, knowing that what we're doing is very courageous, but we're also trying to sort of improve something where we can, while also really respecting the classic nature of the venue and the facility that we're responsible for every day. So there's a balance there, that sort of respect for the legacy of the venue itself and its history, but also with that, how can we use that to go forward and really bring in, sort of new generations of audiences to really enjoy this venue for another 30 years plus. And so that's sort of how we're operating and looking at things from that vantage point.
Was there one artist in particular that was like the get artist that when they signed on and you're like, hey, so-and-so is performing here, that all the other artists said, well, if that person's there, then I need to come to Cerritos?
That's a great question. Artists do talk, agents for artists talk, and agents oftentimes represent multiple artists. This is entertainment is live entertainment is a business of relationships. and trust. Even though offers and contracts and deals are signed, ultimately at the end of the day, reputation means everything, right? Trust and reputation means everything. I think that Cerritos has a really great reputation in the industry, and that's really allowed us to have conversations, to book artists that otherwise might look somewhere else to perform. I think it's a combination of us building that trust, building that reputation, also the venue itself. You mentioned before how it's safe and a clean environment. That matters to the artists every bit as much as it matters to the patrons. So when you're coming into Cerritos, because we are not only the venue, we're also in many cases the promoter. We have actually several customers that we're catering towards. Our patrons, obviously, the ticket buyers who are coming to see the show, but the artists on the stage are also our customers. And I can tell you without hesitation that the artists on stage are getting the same first-class treatment from our staff backstage as the patrons are in the front of the house every single night. So I think that has really helped us build that reputation of trust and excellence in the industry. And it's really opened the doors for us to have those conversations to talk about certain artists coming here and performing that otherwise might have gone somewhere else. And it is a dense marketplace here in Southern California. There are lots of venues to choose from. So the fact that we're able to get some of the names, even just some of the names that you mentioned are big names. We're very fortunate to have them here. And I think our reputation has really helped drive that in the industry. And I go to a lot of conferences, I talk to a lot of people, and it's really nice to hear that Cerritos is recognized for that reputation of excellence.
And you guys have proved it with every concert that I've been able to cover in your facility.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. When you guys decided that this was the moment, you made the expansion, you bit the bullet, and you're like, all right, let's go for it. You know, was it a moment of relief, or was it a moment of, oh my God, did we do the right thing?
Yeah, it is a bit difficult. There's a lot of unknowns going into some of these deals and in the business in general. And one of the interesting things is, you know, what we're talking about when it comes to live entertainment in particular. It's a very subjective thing, right? The audience is going to come see a show because they really want to come see that show. They have expectations. They really like that artist or whatever the driving factor is for them to come see a show. They're, you know, spending their hard-earned money to come see something, and they have certain expectations. But all of those expectations are generally subjective. And so what we have to get down to on the business side of things is objectively, how do we make these decisions and feel comfortable doing it? And so in that sort of line of thinking, a couple of us spend an unbelievable amount of time doing a lot of research to make sure that what we're booking is appropriate for the Cerritos venue, excuse me, and the Cerritos patrons. We spent a lot of time looking at content, sales performances, ticket pricing, you know, all of those different things that go into the making a decision, one, to even make an offer to bring an artist in, but also in the evolution of those deals that are being put together, that really needs to stay on track to make sure that it's serving our patrons appropriately, that the content is good, that it's going to work. And there's all of those sort of objective level things going on in the background that we're taking a look at to help make some of those decisions. All of that said, getting back to your question, to be honest, every time there's a little bit of nail biting going on because we're, you know, there are in some cases, we're sure that something we might plan for sales to be, I don't know, 70 to 80%, but we're pleasantly surprised that it's 100% sold. So we plan for things a certain way, and then sometimes they over or underperform depending on what's going on in the marketplace. But everything that we do is very much based upon a pretty regimented series of metrics to make sure that we're making the right decision for Cerritos. And at the end of the day, because we go through all of that process, and because we did our due diligence, and because we're making sure that we're trying to still provide that first-class experience, I'm very comfortable at the end of the day when we make a decision and we have a deal done that we made the right decision and we made the right call, because we put all of those things into place. So it is, although it can be a little bit stressful, at the end of the day, I'm comfortable knowing that we did our very best in providing our patrons in the city of Cerritos the best service that we can.
Going through your bio, especially through your LinkedIn page, which I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. You are a Southern California guy through and through. You've been an associated technical director. You've been an audio supervisor. You've been a stage director, a theater manager, stage tech, production manager. You've been on the business side. You've been on the entertainment side. You found your way to merge your years of experience between the two, from management analysis all the way to the theater director now. Which side is a little more fun and which side is a little more stressful when you have to wear either hat when it comes to merging the two?
That's a very interesting question. I think our perceptions tend to become our realities. So no matter what position I was working in, I was always focused on what was required of that role at the time. And it's always pretty much been business for me from day one. I think, personally, I feel like I have a very strong work ethic and a commitment to try to provide the best service that I can. Having said all of that, I can say that every once in a while I do have a grass is always greener moment where I look fondly to the past. I've really been fortunate to work on some very, very cool shows in the past, and especially on those production days. In the audio world, and mixing some really cool bands and kind of getting into, that sort of more, I'll say the subjective area of things, right? The more creative side of things is a lot of fun. I do miss that. But I think overall, this position that I'm in now is a very comfortable position for me, just because I sort of have that need to provide good service, both to our customers, to our stakeholders, and to our artists. And I kind of feel a bit of a commitment on that front, if you will, that I sort of like need to be doing this. That said, I do miss the days of pushing a road case across the stage. That is, to me, was always like, that hands-on work of production was very much instant gratification, right? You would come in at like 8 or 9 in the morning, unload a truck, put a show on the stage, do the show, pack it all up, put it on the truck, and it's gone. And it all happens in less than 12 hours, right? Or in 12 to 14 hours. What I'm doing now is very delayed gratification. So what I'm working on today, I'm not going to see what this looks like until 18 months from now. And so it's a different lens to look through. But I definitely had a lot of fun in my production days. I'm having fun now. It's just different, and I have to enjoy it, 18 months from now when it's all done. But I definitely leave at the end of every day feeling like we're actually accomplishing something. I think that's really important, right? Not just for me, but for our team, they got to feel like, hey, we're getting stuff done, and we're getting a lot done. I think everybody's very proud of that, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot with this next question then. All right.
Okay.
So, since you are the business guy, you are the theater guy, you've done it all. There has to be somebody in the last 18 months that you forgot yourself in the moment and go, "Oh yeah, I'm working," because you've been so fixated in the performance and how wonderful they were.
That's a fair question. Let's see. I would say every once in a while it happens. It does happen. Earlier this season, we did have a preseason special in August with Joss Stone. That was a magnificent concert. Absolutely blew me away. She's so talented. She was great. Her band was fantastic. Her backup singers were fantastic. The set list was perfect. The sound was perfect. The lighting was perfect. Everybody had a great time, standing, dancing, cheering her on. It was such a great show to be present. And I did, just for a moment, lose myself and just had a little bit of fun there, saying this is what it's all about, right? And I think that's what, carrying that away, that's a little bit of the reward, right? This is what it's all about, is bringing all these people together to have a shared experience, to see this really great show. And look at what we did. Look at what we did. And that is just so rewarding. And yeah, just sort of losing yourself in the moment and really enjoying the show. If I had to pick one over the last 18 months, it'd probably be that one, Joss Stone.
All right, Jeff, I'm going to leave you with this one then. And
Okay,
this is really going to be one. It's this way we don't disrespect any of the artists that are coming, because you have some
sure.
incredible shows coming up. Drew Hill with All for One is coming up in December. So many Christmas shows, holiday shows. Johnny Mathis is coming. All right. So we'll put it in this context. If you could get one band that has broken up and reunited for a one-night performance at the Cerritos Center for the performing arts, what band would it be? They're already broken up. This is
Oh
our
man.
reunion show. They'll be like,
Oh
this
man.
is this is it. This is my finger on the pulse, making sure they come to Cerritos instead of going to New York, instead of going to downtown LA, instead of going to San Diego or San Francisco or Vegas. Cerritos is where we're doing the reunion show.
Okay. I do have an answer to your question. There's
Hopefully,
one
I bought you enough
band.
time with naming all the extra cities.
That's good. That's good. I appreciate that. There's one band that's no longer touring, unfortunately, that we actually tried to get in Cerritos on several occasions, and we could never get it to work out years ago. But and anybody who knows me already knows the band name I'm going to say. But I would have to say Huey Lewis and the News.
All right, that's a good one.
I'd have to say Huey Lewis and the News, and I know that's a little bit unexpected, but I have to say that a little bit of a personal story. Huey Lewis and the News was the first concert that I ever saw in my life. It was a 1986 4 tour. Still have the ticket on the wall. It's right over my camera here.
All right.
And that show, I firmly believe, is what put me on a path to be in this business. I already had a little bit of public service, if you will, in my genes. But that show really, I think, put me on a path to be part of this industry. I had the great opportunity to see Huey Lewis and the News, excuse me, perform several times over the years. I also got to meet him a couple of times, and I also got to work on his stage once. They are a great band. Very, very good band. They put out a lot of great music, a ton of hits. I have fond memories of the music. Of course, also they had music as part of they had two great hits in the movie Back to the Future, which is, one of the great movies I think ever. Obviously, this is speaking a little bit from my childhood, but it would if I could get them back together. And to be fair, they didn't really break up, right? Unfortunately, Huey couldn't perform anymore, but he's still out there. He's doing his interviews. I think he has his own podcast now too, as well. So if I could get them back together and put them on the Cerritos stage for one more show, I am very confident that we could sell that show out, and it would be a great show.
I dig it. I really, okay, that's a great choice. It was an unexpected one, but it is a great choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew I had a feeling it would be unexpected, but since I'm staring at the ticket over the camera, it was the first thing that came to mind.
And the fact that the musical Back to the Future is touring right now. So it's just all tied in.
Exactly right. And we're hoping to get that Broadway tour to come through Cerritos in the future. We're looking forward to that.
That'd be fantastic. Well, the
Yeah.
Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts official website, ccpa.cerritos.gov. Remember, this is a government-run facility. It is not a private one. And the city has backed the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts by putting on some incredible shows. The address is 18000 Park Plaza Drive, Cerritos, California, 90703. Jeff, it is a great pleasure. Hopefully, I'll see you at another show real soon. I already threw my hat in for the Beach Boys and for Rick Springfield. So fingers crossed.
Well, we'll see you at both those shows, and you're always welcome here. Everybody is. Can't wait to see you next time.